Hello folks, it's me, the old deplorable basket case here. So Stefan Radev has commented on my earlier video, how to convince capitalists to not oppose socialism. And while he is avowedly has no intention of trying to convince anyone of anything, he does want to have an exchange of opinions. So we all know that socialism, just as the capitalism, comes in different forms. We won't discuss the classic Marx-Engels theory, okay, you dislike, to put it mildly, the Bolshevik interpretation of the socialism. That's only normal, it had failed for various reasons, and some of them were internal. So, different discussion altogether. So what I'm trying to sell you is not the oppressive, dark, gloomy Cultural Revolution of Mao, or the whatever the Red Khmers called their madness. Those are bad and don't even have a good side. Yes, absolutely true. We are in complete agreement on that. Good, cool. What I'm promoting is the Scandinavian Socialism. Right. High personal income taxes, high income equality. Okay. Income equality is not a good thing. It doesn't matter. It's not a good thing, it's not a bad thing. It doesn't matter. What matters is whether or not the people who are poorest have what they need to take care of themselves. That's what matters. Income equality does not matter. People who care about income equality, who spend time and energy working on income equality, are damaging. Because that's time and energy that is not being spent on actually helping people who need help and... Sorry. High personal income tax, high income equality, high government spending on health, education, housing, etc. These countries, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, adding also Iceland and Finland. Okay, Finland, based on my understanding, does not have high government spending on health, education, and housing, etc. They're also not exactly Scandinavian, are they? But again, that's not this discussion. Okay. Have social democratic, Labour Party, etc. post-World War II governments. They use the free market economy, and yet they can do what the communist government should do. In order to avoid too broad comment, I'm stopping here. Cool, fair enough. Okay, what do you mean by selling me this? What do you mean by promoting this? Okay, if you mean you're trying to convince me that that Scandinavian socialism has worked for people in these Scandinavian countries, at least so far, then I would say, yeah, that's true enough. It has worked for as long as it has worked in these Scandinavian countries. If you're trying to convince me that this kind of socialism would work anywhere else on the planet, then you've got a rather tougher conversation ahead of you. Because these countries do have a lot of things in common. A lot of the ssame history. There's also a lot of the same cultural history. So it would be natural for these countries to have generally the same approach to political and socioeconomic problems. Another thing that these Scandinavian socialist countries have in common is a relatively small population in comparison to the resources that they have. So these socialist programs are not so much funded by high personal income taxes as they are by these very large natural resources that these countries have. There are very few countries on the planet that have such small populations in comparison and such a comparably large natural resources to support this kind of socialism. Also, even with all these resources, even with the U.S. government throwing money out all over the place, for example, a lot of these countries, their militaries are funded by the U.S. government. These countries are going bankrupt. Really, they are. Look at the mounting national debt these countries are accruing. Some of these countries are starting to look a lot like Greece. Like Maggie Thatcher said, socialism works right up until you run out of other people's money. Another thing that these countries have in common, excluding Finland, is stagnant economies. These countries have not improved their economies much over the past 70 years. Okay? They of course, rebuilt since World War II. Especially Norway really had to do a lot of rebuilding after World War II. But they really stayed stagnant. Okay. Also, there are really important factors to consider when looking at these countries and their socio-political systems beyond the economy. Um, Sweden, for example, effectively has no rule of law. There are huge no-go areas across the country. Gang warfare is a huge problem in Sweden right now. Excuse me. In fact, in all these countries, there are significant social problems that perhaps are not caused by the socialist policies of their governments, but are at the very least exacerbated, if at the very least are made worse by the socialist practices of these governments. So, I'm not buying that. I am not buying Scandinavian socialism. I'm just not. At least based on face value. If you have some more details about these governments, about these countries, about how they're working, then bring them. Like I said, bring all your details, bring all your facts. Bring everything you've got. Because I want to have an open, honest, and positive debate with everybody. So, anyone who's watching this, thank you for watching, and please comment below with anything you have to say about this. I'd sure like to know what you think. And everyone, have a good day, have a good night, and God bless.